there is this trend on the bar is solo, where you find people have been tolerating to some extent harmful behavior with their partners. What do you think is the root cause of this tolerance?
The bar is solo is none other than codependence. Makes someone heavily rely on another person, sacrificing their own joy and happiness to meet the needs of this other person.
Let's read some of the comments. The bar was so low that I caught him cheating, and instead of leaving, I was begging him to choose me, or at least stay with both of us. At this point, I was negotiating my own disrespect.
Strong fear of rejection, being alone, disapproval. Those three things. That is why he is still there even after being cheated on, and actually begging the cheater.
What does it communicate to your partner when you stay once they have cheated? I'm sure you've come across the trend on the bar is solo. And as I was scrolling, I began to ask myself why people stay in relationships where they are constantly abused and even disrespected. And as I was doing my studies, I came across codependency. And to tell you the truth, I have also stayed in relationships where I have been disrespected. So I was really intrigued. And one thing I came to realize is that we are the enablers of this toxic and harmful behavior. So in studio today, we shall be talking about codependence. I am joined by Dr. Steve. He is a professional counseling psychologist. He was with us in the previous episode as we were talking about toxic relationships and abusive relationships and how you find yourself in one. So if you have not watched the last episode, please do so. So Dr. Steve, say hi to the people and maybe you can introduce to us codependency and tell us what it means.
Wow, thank you very much, Kate. Last time we were with you here. Our viewers, hi. As she has said, I'm Steve, and I have loved your shows because these are shows that are educating people. I am Steve GM. Many people know me as Steve GM. I am a psychologist and a professional counselor, and I love talking about such topics, especially when we are trying to save people from toxic and relationship dynamics that are dysfunctional. So it's an interesting topic called dependence, and I think we should begin by helping our viewer to understand what dependence is. Because before we have codependence, we already have had dependence on the table. So what does this mean? We are calling dependence. And as the term suggests, is where you are relying on someone else in a relationship, psychologically for psychological needs, emotional needs, even physical needs, financial needs, and dependence is normal and is okay. And actually without any level of dependence, there is no relationship. Now dependence is divided into two. There is the healthy dependence. Healthy dependence is where there is a interdependence. There is emotional connection, there is mutual trust, okay, and mutual support. But now when it comes to unhealthy dependence, is where a partner, one person, heavily relies on the other partner, emotionally, psychologically, financially, even physically, to a point of losing their own self-identity. But now, unhealthy dependence is a lower level of codependence. Because now codependence, because that's what you have asked, is where one partner actually sacrifices his or her own needs to meet the needs of the other partner, and actually they sacrifice their happiness for the happiness of the other partner. They lose completely their self-worth and they lose their identity. So they live the life of the other partner.
Okay.
That is now codependence.
Yes. And as I was saying, there is this trend on the bar is so low, where you find people have been tolerating even to some extent harmful behavior with their partners.
Yes.
What do you think, if then this is codependence, what do you think is the root cause of this tolerance?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Kate. Actually, what we are calling in the social media the bar is so low is none other than codependence. Now in the psychological language. And what causes codependence? What makes someone heavily rely on another person to a point of losing their self-identity and living the life of this other person, sacrificing their own joy and happiness to meet the needs of this other person? We have few but very strong causes or reasons. One major culprit is the kind of environment you were brought up in. You might have been brought up in an environment that conditioned you to be excessively reliant. For example, maybe you were brought up in an environment or in a family where your parents, your siblings, and people around you gave you excessive attention and they did everything for you. Or even the other way around. They never did anything for you. They never give you attention. Those two extreme ends can breed, or they can breed a codependent person, or they can predispose you to codependence. I don't know whether you have any question on that area, but I think it's self-explanatory. Yeah, that the kind of environment you're brought up in can condition you to be codependent.
I think the only thing I've seen throughout our episodes is that most of the issues that we have as adults, their origin is at the childhood stage.
Yes.
Because even now we are talking about codependence. Last time we were talking about toxic relationship. The other time we were talking about, everything that we have addressed in the show, the origin, the root cause is always, childhood experiences. And I think it's very important for people to understand that their childhood experiences have such a heavy impact in their adult life. Yeah.
And actually that is going to inform our parenting. And it's good for our viewers to understand that whatever you do to your child, however you treat your child, you are shaping their personalities and who they are going to be in years to come. So the first culprit, as we have put it, is the kind of environment where you are brought up in. Okay? Also, the other causes like low self-esteem. Just as we said last time.
Yeah.
There are people who feel that they cannot stand alone. There must be someone else with them. Okay? To define their worth. So that low self-esteem is a major also culprit for codependence. Yeah. Also traumas in relationships. Maybe someone was mistreated by the first love, or the first love in their life told them that I have left you because of this and this. You are like this, you are like this. So they made them feel like in the next, because it is so painful. I can't get over this. You mean you have left me, They are in a heartbreak after the first love. So they are like, how can I avoid this kind of pain in future? So they feel like they would want to be better. And then they remember the words of their
first love.
So they try to please any other person who comes so that they don't make the same mistakes, not knowing that maybe it is not even because of their mistake that the relationship broke. Okay? So trauma and past relationships can also condition people to be codependent.
And also self-esteem. And I would like to know, because I don't think there is anyone who likes to hear that they have a shortcoming. So how would you tell if someone has low self-esteem, or how would you help someone to find out if they have low self-esteem?
Yeah, one way to help you know that you have low self-esteem is, are you okay even if nobody has validated you? Are Are you okay even if no one has told you you're smart? From the little things that happen daily. Would you still feel smart even after having gone back home in the evening with no one having told you that you're smart? Would you still believe you're smart? If you must be told by someone, then there is some element of esteem issues in you. It is good for people to tell you you're smart, but would you believe it without having been told? So how much of validation are you seeking? Approval, people's approval. Also, one other thing to tell you that you have low self-esteem is when you don't believe in your decisions and opinions. Someone else has to come and okay your opinion.
So what would you make, for example, of someone like me who, like, when I need to go and purchase something serious, my sister has to be there. So that she can either okay it or inimbaya simzuri. Is that even also some aspect of low self-esteem then?
Okay. It may or it may not. What matters is if your sister is not available to come and okay your choice, your tastes, your preference, how do you feel? Do you feel so anxious and like life has stopped and like you cannot do it unless she comes? If that is the case, then you have issues with esteem. But if you say, okay, I would really have wanted her to be here. I never want to purchase anything in her absence. When she's away, well and good, I'll buy, take a photo and send her. Yeah, I'll surprise her today.
Okay.
Then you're okay.
All right, so I think the essence I'm getting in the whole codependency issue and self-esteem is the validation, like the intention for doing something is not for you, like, how do I feel about this thing? How will it affect me? Your intention of doing the thing you're doing is because of how the other person will react. Will they love me or will they be happy with me? It's not about you as a person.
How will they say, what will they say about me? How will they see me? Those are the worries you have. And if nobody is around you to say anything about whatever you're doing, you feel totally out of place. You're not comfortable. So that's a beginning, that's an early stage, that's a beginning and a pointer to codependence. Also, there's another cause of codependence, the cultural and social perceptions and conditioning. Let's call it social conditioning, especially for women. The society, especially the African traditional society, has conditioned women to be reliant, actually heavily reliant on men. But I think today's education and civilization that has empowered women and helped them to redeem their self-identity through empowerment of the girl child. But we should not ignore the fact that also men suffer also from the social aspects. You know, even today, for example, today, the element of elevating the girl child and forgetting the boy child has also conditioned the boy child to be codependent on women, or even in any other circles. So social conditioning is also another culprit.
Okay, so as we were talking before the camera started rolling, we were saying about the need for a codependent person to rescue people.
Yes.
You want to rescue yourself through rescuing others. Can you tell us a bit about that, and also tell us what do they need to be rescued from? Okay.
Actually, codependent people, they want to rescue someone. Actually, they want to be rescued through rescuing other people. And there's something I normally say, and I'll put it in different wording today. It is not your responsibility to rescue someone. You can never rescue anybody. You first rescue yourself. And actually rescuing yourself is already a full duty, which you may not accomplish 100%. So you don't even have time or even the energy to rescue someone else. Trying to rescue someone else always brings frustration. Always. But the codependent people have a very crazy hope that one day they will rescue this person. Very crazy hope. And because we discuss about the cycle of codependence, the cycle continues to repeat itself. Yet this codependent person doesn't click in their mind that what they are looking for will never be found. So they think that they will be emotionally and psychologically rescued, they'll be validated, they'll be approved, they'll be loved, they'll be appreciated. Let me give an example. Someone working in an office or a company somewhere, and then we have seen these cases many times. So you find yourself doing all the work, including the work that the boss is supposed to do. We call them workaholics. Someone spends all the time even at 10 p.m. in the night, they're still at the workplace. What is in the mind of this person? Even the boss is at home. What do you think is running in the mind of this person? Trying to please everybody and even carrying burdens. Work that does not belong to you, responsibilities that are not yours. Okay? So they are trying to find rescue for their emotional issues and needs through trying to rescue other people, which will never work.
So when they're trying to please everyone, are they trying to buy love, or is it the hope that they will be chosen? What is the drive for, trying to please everybody? Because I think the number one culprit of codependence is people pleasing.
Yes.
So what is their drive? Like, what are they looking to get from people pleasing?
And actually, going to your question, as you have put it now, if I can use different wordings, is that one key culprit is the what we had said last time, that desire and motivation to nurture everybody around you. Okay, we call them empaths. Naturally, people who are empaths, they want to be a caretaker, a caregiver to everybody around them. Yeah. So that element of being a caregiver, what are they looking for? Actually, validation, approval. That's what they are looking for. Validation
and approval.
And they are always in the hope that things will be like how they are seeing them. They are in the hope that this person they are trying to please will reward them. Yeah.
Okay. Another fascinating thing I came across is that, unlike other things in relationship where we talk about toxic behaviors in the other partner, narcissistic traits in the other partner, abusive behavior in the other partner, in a codependency situation, the person who is on the receiving end is the one who enables the other partner's toxic behavior.
Yes.
How does that happen?
It happens this way, Kate. A codependence case is a different one because the codependent person looks like the one who is responsible for this kind of a situation and not the other party who is actually abusing them. So the codependent person is the one enabling the other person, who now we call the dependent person. They enable them to continue actually, for example, to continue with their abuse, to continue with their undesirable and cruel behaviors, to continue with drug and substance abuse. They cover them actually even from attack from other people or criticism from other people. Do you see this thing of kababa and kamama, kabam and kababa? Very serious. And actually, allow me to say this at this point. Parents, Stop this kamama and kababa thing.
Even in adults, like the other time on Instagram, people were encouraging women to call their men kababa, like if anakuprovidea vizuri, and is taking care of him, unamuita kababa.
Kababa. Really dangerous.
So umesema watu waache kuitana kababa.
Even in my house, we already agreed with my wife, and I thank God because she came up with it, and I told her I've been waiting for this. Even our last born, we used to call her baby Toto, and that was a name. We almost even forgot the name of the child. But we reached a point and said, there is no command in this house. There is no baby in this house. Call people by their names. Because that is one way you can breed a codependent person. And let me tell you, all the troubles and the problems that this person will have, you as a family will be the first recipients. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you can never do away with a family member. They will always come back to the family. So it's good to bring up people in the right way. Call people by their names. The kababa and the kamama should just be forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to share some messages zenye watu walikuwa wanatuma, like hizo za zinaitwa jibeba is solo. And before I do that, I want you to paint for us a scenario of a codependent relationship. Like, how is that relationship dynamic?
Actually, I had one woman, this was in the public domain, not even in counseling, so it's not confidential. I don't share confidential information on the social media. But she was on public domain. And she said, this is what I used to do. I was the one paying the house rent for my boyfriend, not even my husband.
Boyfriend.
I was paying house rent for him. I was buying food for him. He could not get out of the house. I loved him so much. I didn't know what I'm looking for. But I always wanted to make him happy. I remember even one point, I bought alcohol in a crate and took it to the house for him. Because he told me, I'm not able to talk about anything or to share anything when I'm sober. I need to take a few glasses. And baby, I won't be drunk. I just take a few glasses so for me to be able to talk. So she could do anything to please the boyfriend. And you see, she has money. So it is different from the case of abuse. Because in abuse, the one being abused most of the times, not all the times, financially they are unstable.
Yeah.
And that is one reason they are not able to get out of the relationship.
Yes.
But in codependence, it is more of emotional and psychological than financial and physical aspects. So she has money, she has education, she has a good name, but she cannot understand how every of her thought and action and word has to revolve around this man. Who is very idle, who doesn't seem to care for her emotions. She sacrifices her happiness and joy for the sake of this man until one day she met a friend who asked her hard questions. And then she was like, wait a minute. What has this friend of mine just put in my mind? And then this friend of hers introduced the aspect, the concept of codependence. And asked her, please go and research on codependence. And then you tell me whether you are in one.
Okay.
And then in the next meeting, she told her, while crying, you have hurt me. Now I know. And watch me from today.
Wow. So codependency can have nothing to do with abuse. Yeah, but you find your life revolves, your decisions, your emotions, your mood is dependent on this person, your happiness is dependent on the other person, and you're not being abused. Your life just revolves around that person.
Actually, you're the one bringing the troubles to yourself, and it looks like you are deliberate. Actually, she was saying, I could not make any decision. Even when he doesn't have to give his opinion, I couldn't make any decision before I asked him. He had to okay everything. I had to involve him in everything, even when he shows me he's not interested. So that's it.
Okay.
So it's like you are in a kind of an abuse, but who is really abusing you?
Yeah, it's like you're trying to say you're abusing yourself.
You're abusing yourself.
Okay, so let's read some of the comments that were shared.
Okay.
The bar was so low that I caught him cheating, and instead of leaving, I was begging him to choose me, or at least stay with both of us.
Yes.
At this point, I was negotiating my own disrespect.
Yes. That's it. Negotiating your own disrespect. Imagine you have been cheated on, and you are begging your boyfriend or your girlfriend kindly repaying either both of us, or the one will break loose.
So is it that this person is afraid to leave? I'm trying to understand the dynamic.
Let me help you. In codependence, there is a very high fear, strong fear of rejection. Number one, strong fear of rejection, strong fear of being alone, strong fear of disapproval. Okay? Those three things. That is why she is still there even after being cheated on and actually begging the cheater. If there is any like cheater in English.
Yeah. Okay, another one. The bar was so low that he got my friend pregnant, and instead of leaving, I was out here acting like the baby shower organizer, all while Mr. Community D was out there planning his next victim.
That's even hilarious. Actually, can I remind you one of the scenarios? Let me not mention names, but there is a couple that was trending a few months or years ago in the social media. And they were calling themselves a particular name. Now they are married to one man. You know, we are happily married. The older wife is welcoming the new wife. You know, they're making videos and all that. And all of a sudden, the older wife is unable to pretend anymore. And hair breaks loose. They are gone. So what were they doing initially? Trying to kind of welcome somebody in the marriage so that you may be two wives of the same man, but you know in your heart that you are hurting.
You are hurting, true.
You are hurting. Instead of saying adamantly and resolutely, I can no longer stay in this relationship. Just continue the two of you, I'm gone. Yeah.
Okay. The bar is so low, he always cheated on me, and I ended up apologizing for it. He lied about his own son being dead and buried for money. He comes home at 2 a.m. and I always woke up to serve him.
Actually, let me tell you, Kate, this has been happening ever since. And I learned that because of education. Most women in the traditional African setup have been living in this kind of relationships and marriages for many, many years. But now, such kind of shows like this, you have many. You wake up at night, 3 a.m., you open the door for a drunkard, you change their clothes, you warm food for them, and you serve them. And you ask them, babes, are you going to bed? And then there are other women in the society and neighborhood are telling you, oh, kudos, you are a good wife.
You're a good wife.
You're a good wife.
Just because we want to be okay with the societal status.
And when they approve you, you feel so good.
Yes.
So tomorrow you're waiting for the drunkard to come, insult you, actually even hit you. But as a good wife, in quotes, you need to be submissive to your husband and to serve him and to treat him well. But still, there were few women in the same setup, the traditional setup, who are able to notice this and say no. And that's where change begins.
That's true. I think after I read each comment, you shall be reminding people why they stayed.
Yes.
Fear of rejection,
Yes.
fear of disapproval, fear of abandonment. You know, the bar was so low, I continued paying rents for his baby mama despite her telling me I was just a side piece. You see?
The baby mama tells the, let's say, good wife, you are
a side piece.
And
you continue paying rent.
You continue paying rent for the baby mama. That's a high level of codependency. And is it fear of rejection, fear of disapproval,
abandonment, self-esteem?
Yeah, self-esteem, and societal conditioning. Yeah.
Wow. The bar is so low. He goes to sleep over at his baby mama's place, and I'm happy he video calls me to say good night while he's there.
These are common issues, Kate, and I can tell you I've seen many cases of such kind in counseling.
Wow.
Where even you'll find a husband sharing photos of him and the side chick with the main wife or good wife. And the good wife is like, we need to talk about this.
And I'm sure, like, the people who are reading these comments, like me, they were like, how can you stay in that place? How can you stay in such a relationship? We're talking about it, codependence. Codependence. And the worst thing is that, as in these cases, as we can see, like, people are aware of what is going on. The codependent partner is aware there is a baby mama. The codependent person is aware that she is the one paying the rents and everything, that they are being cheated on, and yet they're staying. And as you're continuing staying in that situation, you're enabling that behavior.
Enabling the behavior.
You will not change that person by staying by his side, or maybe hoping that one day they will choose you.
Actually, most of them fail to know that the only way you can change that cycle is by beginning to redeem yourself, know your self-worth, you redeem your self-identity, and you begin becoming independent and resolute in your decisions. But this kind of cycle continuing will never ever change this other person, the dependent person. Actually, you are enabling them to continue with their abusive behavior and intolerant responses to you.
Actually, I would like to know, what does it communicate to your partner when you stay once they have cheated?
Actually, what happens is that they notice that in you there is an element of guilt. You're feeling guilty anytime you try liberating yourself or pulling away. So, when you begin trying to reconcile with them, yet they are the ones who are doing those behaviors that are bad, this other person, the dependent person, not now the codependent person, the dependent person notices, and therefore they use that to manipulate the situation. So what they do is that they take advantage of that and they use that to manipulate the situation.
Wow. I hope you're listening. Let's read the next one. The bar is so low, I catered for all his bills, even after realizing he had a wife, and still got pregnant for him, and he still dumped me.
And the worst thing about that, have you said the culprit is?
Rejection, fear of abandonment,
or
disapproval,
fear of disapproval,
self-esteem.
And after it all, you begin feeling so bad about yourself, so guilty. But the last thing is that the cycle will still repeat itself. When you begin trying to liberate yourself, when you feel guilty, you are not able to form boundaries for yourself. You go back to the cycle.
Okay, another one. The bar is so low, I found him flirting with over 10 girls. I told him I forgive him. He did not apologize. I volunteered to forgive.
The question is this, Kate. What are you forgiving? What are you forgiving? You are not the one in the wrong. Actually, I remember a time I was watching a movie, and this was not just a movie. It's a reality acted in form of a movie. A man cheats on his wife, and then the wife is like, "Why did you cheat on me?" She shouted at the man. Then the man is like, "You've shouted at me. It's over between me and you." And then the wife goes on her knees. "I'm sorry, babes. I've sinned against you. I will change. I will improve." They did not talk about the cheating. That's now what we are talking about today. Codependence.
But it can also be, in a situation where maybe the codependent is in a relationship with maybe a narcissist or an abuser, which can be worse for them.
Yeah. Actually, that is one sign of codependence. It is one of the major signs. You remain in an abusive relationship even when the relationship has costed you your self-identity and self-worth. Yeah.
Well, and the reason people stay is
fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of disapproval. That's why people continue in relationships where there is someone who has undesirable behaviors and you're still treating them so well as if you are the one who need approval or you need to change. Yet they are the ones who need to change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me read maybe like 3 more.
It's okay.
So that we can talk about how this cycle develops in relationships. So the boy is solo. I met another girl in his apartment. God knows what happened between them, but I forgave him and still stayed the night with a heart broken.
Yeah. They slept in the same house. Because she is really heartbroken. What have you done? It's like giving them a green light. Continue with what you have done. Yeah.
Okay, I want to jump. There's another interesting one I saw. There was this one. They said that I surely cannot do. The bar is too low challenge. I myself can't believe I did all the BS just to be loved. And it's pain because I was raised in a stable home and I got all the parental love. One would really ask me if I wasn't loved at all. The bar is that low. So my question to you is, how can a person be codependent and yet they were raised in a stable home? They received all the parental love. What happened in between the time they were growing up and now that they're adults?
3 things are possible. 3 things are possible there. One, they were raised in a stable home, but in that stable home, the attention and the love that they were given was excessive. So they were taught subconsciously to be heavily reliant. And their focus has always been on other people because everything about them was done by the caregivers. So we subconsciously and naturally learn to be codependent. Number 2, could be this was her first love. I believe it's a woman.
Yeah, it's a woman.
Her first love. And the secondary, thirdly could be she met someone who is too high. Compatibility was an issue. Maybe this guy is too high, maybe in the intellectually, financially, where they come from, profile. So she feels that she needs to raise her bar. She needs to struggle raise her bar and match with this guy. So those 3 things could be the reason why, even after having been brought up in a very stable home, be codependent. Yeah.
Wow. So how do these cycles begin? Because I can see the common denominator in all this is that they either tolerated and stayed through the abuse or sacrificing your happiness, your needs in order to please the other person. And you told me something interesting earlier, that it can begin as a small suggestion like, Kate, I think I like your legs.
Yes.
You should show more of your legs. And then all of a sudden, I start changing myself. I think I like you without red lipstick. And then all of a sudden, you don't wear lipstick anymore. You stop doing the things you like slowly by slowly. So how does that cycle begin?
Yeah, the cycle begins with the formation of a personality, a codependent personality. And that personality forms at childhood or some few years into puberty because of what we talked about, the environment in which you're brought up. Okay? Or it may form later because of experiences in relationships, past relationships and trauma. Then, from there is a enabling, or you enable the dependent person. Maybe the dependent person is abusive, maybe they are drunkards, or they abuse drugs, or they have irresponsible behavior. But because you want to secure them, to rescue them, and to fix them. So your behavior of being a caregiver enables them to continue with their abuse and undesirable behavior.
Oh, we're saying a lot enabling.
Yes.
Maybe help some people understand what enabling is and how we enable behavior.
Yeah, how we enable. When we talk about enabling, we are saying, for example, let me give an example. We have a mother or a woman, and he has a son. The son is a drunkard, and there are other sons and daughters in the same family who maybe are working, their lives are stable, they are good. But this is a mama's boy. The drunkard is a mama's boy. So the mama keeps on defending this drunkard. Any money she receives from the other children, she must share with this son even after knowing. And when she knows very well that he will go and take alcohol. So she tries to be a caregiver, someone who is trying to rescue this person, but now in the wrong way. They are not reprimanding them and telling them this is wrong that you're doing, because they don't want to hurt them. And they feel that they should be around this person, I should always make them happy. If alcohol is what makes them happy, then let them take it. So your behavior of being a caregiver to this son enables his behaviors of continuing to take alcohol, even insult other people, and become overly irresponsible. They might never even marry. And the other siblings will blame you later and tell you, Mom, you are the reason why our brother has never married.
So enabling is characterized by defending.
Yeah, you defend.
Lack of boundaries.
Yes, there are no boundaries.
And permissiveness.
Yeah, you permit them and you allow them to do whatever they are doing. Yeah, so I think that example can help our viewer to know how enabling comes about. Then after enabling, the cycle goes to stage number 3, which is the second last, which is resentment. This codependent person begins analyzing their behavior and the situation, and kind of they start seeing some light, but the light is still dim. They start feeling like, I think I'm spoiling this person. I think I'm not doing justice to myself. I'm overly reliant emotionally on this person. They begin feeling like they can pull away. But immediately after thinking of how to pull away, they enter stage 4 of guilt and reconciliation. They begin feeling guilty for their feelings. I think I have done wrong to think that I can pull away from this person.
Or how can I give up?
How can I give up on this person? I think I'm not a godly person. I should continue trying to fix them and rescue them. So they reconcile with the dependent person. When they reconcile, this other partner recognizes, they acknowledge, they recognize, they notice that you already have that guilt. So they use that guilt to manipulate the situation and continue with their behavior, and the cycle begins from the first one, from the first point.
Every codependent person at some point in the relationship has an aha moment where they're like, I'm doing injustice to myself.
But the aha has some dim light. It's not very clear. Before they materialize on that thought, they go to stage 4 of guilt and reconciliation, and the cycle repeats itself over and over years.
Okay.
Yes.
So how can a person watching us tell if they are the codependents in the relationship? Because as we said, codependency is not about the other person. Codependency is you being the enabler of bad behavior in relationship, you being, the fueling whatever in the relationship. So how can the person watching us tell if they are the codependent in a relationship?
Thank you very much, Kate. You're asking very good questions. I love the show. So there are signs. Let me give about 4, 5, or 6 very quickly of a codependent person. The number one thing is that you find yourself sacrificing your happiness and your needs to meet the needs of the other person. Number 2, you always feel responsible for the emotions and the moods of this other person. If they get angry because you reprimanded them for coming home drunkard, you feel guilty for making them unhappy. So you no longer continue thinking about how can we resolve this issue of drunkenness. You are now trying to resolve the issue of I made you angry by reprimanding you for coming home drunk. Can you see? A very misplaced emotional equation. Then number 3, there is that complete inability to set boundaries. You keep on postponing. You normally feel in yourself something is very wrong with this kind of, something is very dysfunctional in this emotional relationship with me and this person. But you are never able, it is actually out of your control to set boundaries for yourself.
You feel like the relationship is one-sided.
Exactly, one-sided. Okay? Then another sign to tell you are in a codependent relationship, you are the codependent person, is the extreme fear of rejection and disapproval, especially by this other partner, whoever it may be. Another sign is that it's emotional exhaustion as you try to fix this person or rescue this person. Every day, day in, day out, daily, you are in the full-time job of trying to make this person happy and to fix them. And it has never clicked in your mind, years down the line, that this thing cannot work. It doesn't work that way. So if you find yourself with such kind of signs, including finding yourself tolerating an abusive person and feeling like you still need to remain there even when signs of abuse are very clear, you still feel responsible and there's something you can do, you're sympathizing with the abuser, because also codependency is very much related to, in that case now, related to abuse, which we were talking about last time. So if you find yourself with such things, then you are the codependent person.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, do we as human beings fear introspection? Because, it's very scary for a person to look inside. I like reading about the work of Carl Jung. I'm sure you've come across his work. He's a psychologist. He talks a lot about the shadow person.
Yes.
And how we dim the shadow and, we place him somewhere behind because we don't want to see our ugly side. Because as human beings, it is very hard for us to look and recognize our shortcomings. So how can a codependent person come to that realization, hey, by the way, I need to change?
Thank you for the question. I love it. Have you ever realized many people don't like listening to themselves? Even after doing a public speaking somewhere, and you are recorded, there's a good number of people who cannot replay the recording. I don't want to listen to myself.
That's true. Even a simple voice note.
Even a simple voice note. Who would listen to their voice note or their video and watch their video from the beginning to the end?
I think our camera person is guilty.
She's smiling mischievously and suspiciously. Our camera person is the past culprit. You get it? That translates to you what happens with introspection. And as you have asked, I would tell you, I do it. Myself, I do it. Introspection. I speak to myself. I ask myself questions. I sit with myself at the table. You know, there are two people in you. I will not talk about the third one because we are not in a religious setup. Let me talk about the two because we're in a psychological setup. There is the you, the mind, and the you, the soul. You sit down with yourself. Ask yourself questions. Self-evaluation. How do people get out of codependent relationships? Because codependent relationships are dysfunctional relationship dynamics. Or codependency is a dysfunctional relationship dynamic. How do you get out of it? Introspection, self-evaluation, internal soliloquizing. You know, there's something called soliloquizing. You ask yourself questions and you answer. I have come to realize something, Kate. Many people, I don't know whether in this one our camera person is a culprit. Rarely do people take more than a minute thinking about having an internal conversation.
Yeah.
If only people would do that daily, 5 minutes, don't even take a lot of time. 5 minutes. Have time with yourself. Ask questions and answer. Not the kind of an introspection where you are negative to yourself. It's like you're sitting with someone on the table. How can we make this person better? That person is you. Your life will change.
Like the ile appraisal ya kazi. Usifanyie appraisal once in a while.
Yes. Your life will change. Why? A codependent person normally feels from afar something is wrong with this emotional connection. Because there's something that was put in you when you were created. Instinct. Instinct tells you something is wrong. You just need to sit down, take time, and you know what is wrong with that relationship, even without having a professional near you.
So, Dr. Steve,
Yes.
is there now any hope for a codependent person to stop being codependent, ahili na afike mahali penye ako independent, anaweza kaa peke yake without the fear of being alone?
Kate, there is a healing. Healing is possible for codependence. How does it begin? It begins with self-awareness. That is where you acknowledge patterns of codependence in you. And you accept, I have been codependent. Before you accept that there are patterns of codependence in you, you may never ever reform. You may never heal. Then after realizing and noticing and acknowledging patterns of codependence, you now begin practicing. Remember we said this codependent person has issues with validation, has issues with approval, has issues with making simple decisions. So you begin practicing. For example, that can take you to as to number 2. Begin practicing making simple decisions solely. Because codependent people will always engage and involve this other partner in their simple decisions.
And I want people to understand, when you say partner, codependency can exist in any kind of relationship.
Yes.
Even employee-employer
Yes.
relationship, doctor-therapist, and the patient relationship. Yeah.
Actually, that's true, because even in churches, you'll find some there are members in the church who would want to do everything. And you might think they are looking for, they want to be made chairperson. But no, that's not so. They are trying to do everything because they want to seek approval, validation, they want to please everybody. So they take even a responsibility that are not their own. So when we're talking about partner, we are not talking about only a partner in marriage. There can be a partner in business, a partner in ministry, a partner in any other area. So we were saying
when they start practicing these small practices like decision making, they can practice them even in other sectors.
Trying to make independent choices, independent decisions, without feeling guilty of making decisions without involving the other person or the other partner. And you deliberately do that. Then the other thing, practice assertiveness. Saying no and not feeling apologetic about it. Will you take me to the market? No. Why? I want to sleep. So you want to sleep and not take me to the market. You want to sleep. You mean? Yes, I'm tired. I want to sleep. So you begin saying no and prioritizing on your needs, because sleep is a need.
Yeah.
Why are they trivializing your need for sleep? So you begin practicing assertiveness, simple decisions without involving someone. Self-validation. You go to the mirror, speak to yourself, and you say, today I don't want anybody to tell me I'm smart. So I will minimize conversation with people. And I want to feel smart without having to be taught by anybody. So deliberately you begin appraising yourself. It's called self-appraisal. Okay? If this thing is too hard for you to get out and to break free from codependence, seek counseling, professional counseling. You'll be taken through what we call systematic desensitization, where you are systematically detached from this dysfunctional emotional connection with the dependent person. I know we are flowing together, Kate. Maybe something else, very important. Work on your self-empowerment. You empower yourself academically, career-wise, and you try to do things that will raise your self-esteem. Is it creating content? Is it public speaking? Is it anything that you can do that will raise your self-esteem, but it's also beneficial to other people and also to yourself? So now focus on yourself more than to other people. Whatever you're going to do, you're now doing it so that even if other people are going to be helped or they're going to benefit, you are raising your self-esteem.
Yeah. Like when you're doing something, in your mind, you're not placing people before you.
Yeah, don't place people before you.
You're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing content creation, I'm doing like this show, the podcast, this and that. And I'm doing it because I want to fulfill a purpose within me, not so that I can be seen, not so that people can see that I'm doing well or that they can validate me or so that I can appear on screens. No.
Yes.
I think that's sort of, because you'll find people who are doing well in careers, they're doing well financially, because we have read people are spending, these are successful people.
Yes.
If you're paying for someone's rent, you're also paying for your rent and fueling their car. It means you're doing well financially. Then empower yourself emotionally. Empower yourself, even have a mental fortitude.
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe we can have the last remark as we end the show. It was a very interesting one. I have really enjoyed. Yeah, please, can we have the last remark?
I'm also very happy, and I thank you, Kate, because of this important session. And I would say that if you have realized that you are in the codependence situation, where you are the codependent partner, you have heard what we have said, what you need to do, and the duty is yours. The responsibility is yours. And you should stop trying to fix that person and to rescue them. And you now begin rescuing yourself without having to please someone else for your rescue. Because that way, it is not going to work. So you empower yourself, you validate yourself, you believe in yourself, and you detach yourself from that dysfunctional emotional connection deliberately. You can seek counseling, you can share with a friend, and that is going to help you. So I believe that we are going to be sharing many things together here through this forum of this wonderful lady, Kate. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Karibu sana, and thank you for joining us for this show.
Yeah,
thank you for, I think, liberating the people, because I'm sure from now on, hatutasikia about the bar is so low, because we have given you some tips of raising the bar. Hata mimi nimekuwa in my own therapy session, because I have been in such situations where I've been codependent. I have stayed in situations where I should have not stayed.
Yes.
I have also at some point suffered with so low self-esteem, and I conquered. So it is possible through what you were saying, self-validation, making simple decisions, small decisions, and it is very possible. So let's hear next time that you are raising the bar. That's it from T&T. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure that you share the show to your friends on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and also subscribe to our channel. This is where we talk about this and that on matters concerning life. We will see you next time. That's it for now. Bye.